It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists.
Welcome to Naked, Nudists, and Naturist, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the Naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, greetings and welcome into Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 113 today. Really glad that you're with us. Ready to enjoy this next hour together, clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. The pool is ready to go. The hot tub is fired up at 104 degrees, which is a little hot for summertime. If you want us to cool it down a little, we can do that. Otherwise, dive in there as well and enjoy the day in the hot tub if you like to, and then you can dive in the pool to cool off. We have meat on the grill going full bore. We have fruits and vegetables off to the right, cold drinks off to the left, hot drinks inside. Help yourself. Coffee, tea, hot chocolate if you want it. We even have an espresso machine donated by one of our listeners. You can partake there as well. A cigar bar in the back corner of the pool area. A hammock outside between two trees if you want to take a nap or just enjoy the comfort and the quiet of the day. We have extra towels, extra lotion, extra chairs. Again, if you brought nothing at all and just showed up cold, we have everything for you. And so we're glad that you are here with us, enjoying clothes-free living for all the right reasons. Well, on today's show, of course, we will have Lisa Monroe coming up in just a few moments for an extended segment. Looking forward to that. And we will also have part one of my interview with a gentleman by the name of James Grant. We discovered him on social media, fairly new to the world of naturism. He is big into health and nutrition and working out and taking care of himself and all that good stuff. And we'll have him on today to discover how he found all this and what he plans to do with it. We know one thing for sure, he is not turning back and going back the other way. Just a truly wonderful guy, has discovered naturism. He's like a kid on Christmas, like we all are when we take our clothes off for the first time and we realize, this is what I've been missing in my life. This is what I need. So part one today with James Grant. Well, you are listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 113 today. And do you hear some music? Yes, I hear it too. That can only mean one thing. It's time for the great, the terrific, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free, and completely smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. And here she is, the one and only, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free, and completely smiling as well, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
Good morning, Frank. I'm doing terrific. How about yourself?
Not bad at all. Still enjoying this weather. I live for this. I've always lived for this time of year ever since I was a little kid and lived in the Northern Hemisphere. So didn't have as much as I get now living in Florida. So I'm out there every day enjoying life, enjoying the sun, enjoying the heat. How about you? I'm guessing the same because we're kind of wired the same way.
Well, yeah, definitely. I'm loving every bit of the heat. And I will say that the humidity is a little bit worse than I remember it being in past years, but we have to live with it. And I do love it. I kind of love that feel of the air kind of clinging to your skin. That just is like you're part of nature, really and truly then. And I grew up in the South, so my winters were quite temperate. If it snowed, it was a big deal, and the newspaper covered it. So I love this. I absolutely love it.
I didn't tell you what I was going to do yesterday, and then actually did the last few days, actually, and I'll be doing it again today. The previous homeowner of this home planted some bamboo in the backyard, basically to create a shield between what is now my house, and the house is behind me, although there are fences too, so it wasn't really necessary, but he wanted to do it. And apparently a lot of the neighbors at the time said, don't do that because bamboo grows wildly out of control. You'll plant 3 or 4, it'll end up being 10 million, and they'll be 30, 40 feet tall. He laughed it off. Well, those people were right. That's exactly what I have back there now.
Yes.
The problem is I had a shed built a few years ago, and there's some bamboo every year creeps up behind the shed and semi gets close to butting up against it, but definitely leans over it. And so I have to go out there and trim that, cut that down in very tight spaces with a chainsaw. Probably not too smart, but there I am, chainsawing it down, and then the debris pickup guys won't take it if I don't cut it up into 4 foot chunks or less. They won't take a 30-foot bamboo stick. They'll take it in 4 foot chunks or so. And so, yeah, in that heat, in that humidity, that's what I was doing. And it makes me feel like a real man, as I like to tell people.
Get that chainsaw out, cut that timber down. That'll
That's right.
make you a lumberjack. Yeah.
That's right.
Bamboo is tough stuff, very tough stuff. Years ago, a friend and I were doing the decorations for a big event, and we had this bright idea. Well, she did for centerpieces at the table, and we were just going to take bamboo, because it's got a closed section to it. We're going to take bamboo tubes, little short ones, and put them together and put tropical flowers in them and tie them with. I mean, the finished product was gorgeous. Trouble is, we thought we could cut the bamboo ourselves.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
We learned after a couple of hours of absolutely some expletives deleted that neither of us ever used before. We ended up taking all the bamboo, and they were short stalks. So we had the 4 footers. We took all the bamboo to the local Home Depot or someplace and begged the guy and said, "Please, could you cut these for us?" And they did. So we got to kind of get them all custom and done. But otherwise, we couldn't have gotten through that stuff. It takes a chainsaw.
Well, even with the chainsaw, it's a bit of a challenge. I mean, it
Yeah.
takes some strength to plow through it. And I don't want to sound like,
Mhm.
I'm Mr.
No,
Olympia here.
no, no, no. Oh, I thought you were.
Well, you need your bamboo cut. Call Frank Stone. He's the man. Uh, but yeah, even with a chainsaw, and it's a pretty high powered chainsaw,
Mhm.
it still takes a little bit of doing. And when I'm done, I do know that I've worked pretty hard. Now, if I had to use an axe or a hatchet, sure, it'd be a billion times harder, but still pretty tough with a chainsaw. But enjoyed getting out there. And the nicest part is I was almost completely clothes free. Now, on the one hand, that sounds not too bright. With a chainsaw, it's going full blast and you're clothes free.
Mhm.
Well, I did keep, just for safety's sake, without getting into the details, I did keep my underwear on down below, and nothing on top, and shorts and were off. I did have my shoes on, beginning walking around in dirt, and who knows what you're going to step on. But out in the heat, out in the sun, out in the humidity, enjoying it, loving every second of it. I'm sure some people think, that guy's an idiot. He's always out there when it's 150 degrees. And I thought, this is my kind of weather. And nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I like to go out and sit in the heat of the day, and eventually you get a little hot and want to go back in. But
Yeah.
it's just so wonderful to have that hot sun on you. I love it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And, we always caution people, be careful. We talked recently, shirt free living for all men. But there does come, a bit of caution with that. Some men and women, if they're out in the sun 3 minutes, they get a burn. So you have to be careful. Other people can be out there forever and not get burned at all. They get tanned, but they don't get burned. So we don't give advice on that because we're not medically trained in that field. But I know that I enjoy it, and so far, no issues. So I'm going to just keep going until something or somebody says, "Hey, you probably shouldn't do that anymore." Otherwise, this is what I've been living for my whole life, this kind of
Yeah,
weather.
absolutely. And, we're fortunate we have issues down here because we have hurricanes and so forth to deal with at some time. But sometimes the trade off is worth it for the beautiful weather, especially in January.
Absolutely. Well, we do have, as everybody knows, unless you're a brand new listener today, we have a Patreon page. Gave up paid work to do this show for free. And we were told right away that is the dumbest business move ever. They don't teach that in business class in college anywhere, which we knew, of course. But because we were losing money hand over fist, we asked you to step up and can you at least help us make expenses? And you've done that. As listeners, we appreciate you very much. We have some new Patreon peeps today. Who are they, Lisa Monroe?
Well, we have a couple, Cindy and John, who joined in, and a gentleman by the name of Tyler who has joined us. So we appreciate all of them for being part of the Patreon peeps, as we love to call them. And I hope you have fun with us as we kind of play around and have fun with naturism.
That's right. Our paying Patreon peeps. So that's where we get the PPP. They are
Mm-hmm.
brand new PPPs.
Mm-hmm.
Cindy and John, thank you very much. And Tyler, thank you. And thank you to all who give for the show to help keep us going and meet our expenses, especially now that we've kind of sort of doubled the workload.
You think?
I'm sure there's a psychologist out there somewhere thinking, okay, these people need to see me for like 7 days a week of therapy for the next 50 years, and maybe they'll end up okay. But yeah, we doubled the workload. And so when you give to the show, it really helps us meet those expenses. We appreciate you very much. Lisa, you are the merchandise gal around here. Anything new on that front?
Well, I tell you, we introduced a couple of new products a couple weeks ago, and I have to tell you, they're doing very well. I was kind of surprised, but the fanny packs again, the word fanny is okay in the U.S. The
That's right.
fanny packs seem to be quite popular, so we're really happy and hope that it really helps people carry stuff around while they're out playing, and swimming and whatever they're doing. So.
All right. Yeah, the word fanny, as we learned the hard way, I just use it in terms of, we work our fannies off around here, which we do. And I had a number of people from Great Britain in particular, a few other countries too, but Great Britain in particular, wrote, to explain, hey, what are you doing here? And a few people looked it up, like the American usage of the word fanny, and they
Mhm.
thought, oh, okay. And there was a woman who wrote in. She's written in before, and she said, when you said that, I thought, well, what is wrong with Frank? Why would he ever go there? And then somebody explained to her, well, in America, fanny means, your rear end, your backside. And so everybody ended up okay, but I guess we set a few hearts, pumping
That's
vigorously
what
after that little
I
comment. So
guess so. I guess so. When we're American, what do we know?
that's
That's
right.
just we borrow the language.
That's right. Well, this week coming up, or technically next week, I guess, the American Association for Nude Recreation having their United States National Summer Convention, and that will be at Oak Lake Trails Naturist Resort in Oklahoma. And the dates are August 12 through August 15, technically. And as I mentioned on the last show, we have a few regulars here who are members of Oak Lake Trails. Certainly Dan Hawkins, who writes under the pen name D.H. Jonathan. He's also the president of Anner Southwest, and Oklahoma is in Anner Southwest. And author Will Forrest, and a few other people we write back and forth with. And apparently, a truly amazing club. I've not been there, but everybody who belongs there or who has been there before just always talks about the charms of Oak Lake Trails. So it should be an exciting convention this coming week.
Well, I think it will be, and not only do they have the convention meetings, but there are all kinds of events planned during that time. So, the people who are going are going to have a really enjoyable time because that really does look like a very special resort for naturists.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere, and I tend to not do this on the show unless I've confirmed that I know what I'm talking about. But I believe Oak Lake Trails is the biggest nudist resort in the country in terms of land.
That's what I've heard too.
Okay, not necessarily in terms of membership. I don't know about
Hmm.
that, but in terms of physical space, land available, they are the biggest in the country. So hats off to them for getting the convention, and we'll talk about that a little more on our Wednesday show next week, a little more detail, and then maybe recap on next Saturday show if you're okay with that.
Absolutely, sounds good.
All right. And speaking of our Wednesday show, we have two under our belt so far, and no signs of slowing down. Every single Wednesday now, 12 noon p.m. Eastern Time. It'll just be Lisa and I, no guests, no time limit, no minimum, no maximum. Might be 10 minutes one week, an hour and a half the next week. Who knows? Anywhere in between. We're just going to roll with it and see how this goes. We've definitely planned to do this for the rest of 2025, and then we'll reevaluate from there. But Lisa, what this means, you and I talked about this already, so you know what I'm about to say. But for the listeners, we talked about taking some of our Saturday shows and making those Lisa Frank shows only, like we did on episode 104. And we even planned a few out. Well, we're taking those away, not because we're mean, taking gifts
Oh, yes,
away,
you are.
but because now we're doing Lisa Frank every Wednesday. So there's a such word as overkill. You don't want to just keep, pounding the message down. We do a Saturday show, Lisa Frank. We do a Wednesday show, Lisa Frank. We do another Saturday show, Lisa Frank. That's Lisa Frank 3 times in 7 days. Some people would say, great, yippee, it's about time. Other people say, okay, that's enough. I want a guest. So
Get those people off the air now.
that's right.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So we won't do any Saturday shows for now, the two of us, but we will do every Wednesday. So what we took away, we gave back tenfold. So I guess that I think everybody's okay with that. How about you?
I think so. And we've got a lot of people waiting in the wings to be on the show. So this kind of keeps that momentum going of because we've got we're lined up, I think, until 2028. Is that right? No, not quite that far. But so it's gonna keep the guests in a good rhythm, and it's gonna keep us out there giving the people what they've asked for. So hopefully it's gonna be a good formula to work out.
Yeah, I think it's actually the year 3028, not
Oh,
2028.
okay.
We're booked way out. And to accommodate all this to begin with, we had to move a few guests around. Like we promised them certain dates, and it's going to be later because Lisa and I are going to do shows on Saturdays, and that allows us to move them back into place, and they don't have to wait as long. And everybody ends up winning. Everybody ends up winning on this, so we feel pretty good about them.
I think so. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun to
Yeah.
as we go forward.
All right. We had an email from Greg White. He's written in before, and he's also a published author in the Naturist fiction anthologies, in a few of them, including this most recent one. Will Forrest, Ted Bunn, Paul Z. Walker published that. And they had a new one that came out July 4th of this year. Well, Greg White sent us an email. And Lisa, if you don't mind, go ahead and read the first paragraph.
Okay, I'll be glad to. Greg starts out, "Hi, Frank. In the latest episode, 107, when you met your new neighbors for the first time, you missed a golden opportunity. When they were commenting about the previous owner not spending time in her backyard and you saying she did, you should have said, 'Oh, by the way,' and instead of speculating they saw you, just come out and tell them that you are a naturist. Then ask if they would have any problem if they happened to see you nude. They could have said they didn't object, and that could be the end of it. And if you like them, you could invite them to join you sometime."
All right, I'll read the next two paragraphs. If they seriously objected, you could talk about better fencing. If they have a mild objection, direct them to your podcast. If they have a religious objection, point them to Philip Oak's Aching for Eden or Chris's Mudwalker. Both gentlemen have been on the show, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
When we moved into our previous house, I told my neighbor, and she said her father had retired to Glen Eden, that's a nudist resort, and until he died, she and her husband would visit him weekly. Even though they weren't nudists, they had no problem with me being nude in their presence. And when my wife was out of town, we would get together for wine and cheese on the patio. And if you don't mind, go ahead and finish up.
Where I live now, I also told my neighbor, whose house has a commanding view of my backyard. He said he didn't mind, and his wife said where she grew up, it was very common. Even when they built a second-story deck with an even better view, they still have said nothing regarding my daily nude wanderings. Their contractor, who was building the deck, took great umbrage at my nudity since he hadn't been warned, likely. Sometimes it's easier to ask permission than forgiveness. Keep nuding on, Greg.
Yeah, all right. I always use it the opposite way. Better to ask for
Exactly.
forgiveness than permission. But either way, it's totally fine. And, Greg has a very good point there when he said, I missed a golden opportunity. He's right.
Yeah.
He's definitely right. That is what I should have done. I will admit I was taken aback. I was surprised. I was stunned. I had no idea that anything had been noticed. And a quick aside, I don't think I told you this before. The lady who lived there before, elderly lady, and lived there alone, I talked to her daughter, and she made some comment about swimming in the nude. And I said, don't tell me your mother has seen me swimming in the nude. She said, no, at least she's never mentioned anything. And she mentioned it to her mom, and the mom confirmed, no, I never noticed anything. Okay, great.
Hmm.
And then the daughter said, but she's from one of the Scandinavian countries, so it really would not have been a problem.
No,
So,
not at all. Not at all.
yeah, it worked for me, but she was gone by then and is still obviously long gone and moved far away. So when they came over and said that, yeah, he's right. I probably should have said something, like, if you don't mind, this is kind of how I do it. Now, I don't strut around the yard, like, and wave to people all over the place. Hey, look at me. I'm naked in case you didn't notice. No, I don't do that. I'm, very subtle. I try to be very careful. I don't want to, I hate to use this word, but I don't want to offend anybody or tick anybody off. But then again, as he sort of references, what the heck is wrong with a nude body? Just enjoying the sun and the breeze, like this contractor guy. Okay, if I were building a deck, And by the way, you would never hire me to build a deck because it probably wouldn't be level. It might not be safe. But if I were building a deck or doing anything and the guy next door is naked, why get angry about that? Just, oh, that's how he's enjoying life, whatever. And by the way, as the deck builder, I have the option to not look over there. So maybe I'll just put this on myself. I won't look. It's not my house anyway. But apparently he got mad. But yeah, golden opportunity there. And it will be revisited. You know, that's not over with yet. They talked about fencing. We've agreed no fencing kind of destroys the natural beauty. So I did a few things on my side. They already had some natural beauty, bushes, trees on their side. So really, you almost have to go out of your way. Like, okay, I'm peeking through here, peeking nothing. Oh, there he is. He's naked now. You know, well, who does that? You know, that's not part of normal life either. So, yeah, golden opportunity missed, but not forgotten. And I will take advantage of that the next time we talk. Any comments on that?
Well, I think that, it probably was a very missed opportunity. But, in some situations, we get taken aback, like you said, when someone kind of asks a question and we're not really ready to answer. We don't really know how to answer because we're anticipating they have the opposite view. And that's that little fear cycle that keeps us from actually being more honest, I think, about it. I guess we should get over that kind of fear a little bit if we can. But, it's just life. And I think one of the things that I think Gary Muscle said on his show
Hmm.
when he was interviewed was talking about people wearing bathing suits and saying that bathing suits are sexual. Take the bathing suit off, and there's nothing sexual about the human body. So that's the attitude we need to have. But too many people can't get past the sexual part or the, oh my goodness, look at that. That's not right. They shouldn't be doing that. So
Yeah.
we got a lot of work to do for ourselves and for others.
Yeah, and probably what I should have said was something along the lines of, yeah, you know, I tend to hang out here in the pool,
Mhm,
you know, with without a whole lot on and maybe
mhm.
nothing on, but you know, I'm very discreet and very subtle. And if you don't come over and walk inside my pool, you're not going to see anything. That would have at least generated a discussion. Now they could have said, well, that's disgusting, and next time we're calling the police. Okay, at least we have that out there. We know what's going on. It would have fostered a further conversation. Or they could have said, okay, yeah, no problem. You know, whatever you do, just don't run into our pool, you know, run around the pool saying, hey, I'm naked, everybody, in case you didn't notice. You know, that would have generated a conversation.
Mhm.
So opportunity missed. He's right. I will not make that mistake again. So we thank Greg White for his letter. We do have another one, and I like the way this gentleman starts off. Paul Priestley has written in before, and I will go ahead and start off. Frank, Jennifer, and Lisa. And he puts in parentheses, alphabetical, not importance. So he doesn't want to tick you off. He doesn't want to tick Jennifer off, but
He's perfectly fine doing that. I fully understand. I'm glad he noted
he
it.
did put me first.
Yeah.
Therefore, he is my favorite listener of the day. So we'll just
Of
let that
course
go.
he is.
All right. So he says, this is from Paul Priestley. I just wanted to write a thank you note for all that you do to promote naturism and clothes for a living for all the right reasons. I wanted to record a message for episode 100, but my procrastination got the better of me for that one, hence this message. If you don't mind, take over from there.
I have been listening to you since episode 1 and haven't missed one yet. I may not be able to listen at 6 a.m. Eastern Time on Spotify or shortly after on your platform of choice, but just how important you are to me, let me give you 2 examples. When I happen to wake up early enough on Saturday, I put my hearing devices on and listen. You are so familiar, friendly, comforting that I've relaxed many times to sleep again. And your conversations are so engaging to me that when I happen to get drowsy while driving, I turn on an episode and the drowsiness instantly goes away.
Wow. We're relaxing and comforting to the point he can go back to sleep, but we're also relaxing and comforting and interesting that he gets out of his drowsiness. That's not bad.
Hey, we serve both worlds. That's not bad at all. I think that,
Yeah.
that helps. I'm glad to hear that.
We should start a new podcast, you know, go to sleep with Frank and Lisa, and we'll just talk, you know, in like you're relaxing now, you're thinking about
Yeah.
dreaming, and we'll just talk, and
Yes.
eventually they'll, you
Yes.
know, go off. And maybe not. Maybe that's just a silly idea, but
We might be onto something, but again, maybe not.
all
Anyway.
right. I'll do the next paragraph, and then he has a poem I want you to read, but I'll do the last paragraph. Your show, not a podcast to me, and he's right. This is a show. It's not a podcast. Totally different. It's organized like a show. It's presented and produced like one. But your show, not a podcast to me, is something that I look forward to every week, and it's become part of my life. In fact, between your show and a naturist event I attended, I wrote a poem that you covered in episode 7 at just over the 12-minute mark. With that in mind, I would like to share another poem I wrote. This describes a little of what I fought through when younger and now have an immense respect and appreciation for my body and what it has done and can do for me. Without further ado, and then he goes on from there, gives the title and the poem, and Lisa, take it from there.
What's wrong with my body? I was caught in the world watching every scene when I went to the store and bought a magazine. What I saw on the pages I couldn't believe. The feeling of shame did my mind retrieve. I was told to do this to look like that. I wouldn't be perfect if I had any fat. Embarrassed, I left for home in a scurry. My heart was racing, my mind in a flurry. I looked in the mirror to see my own face. What I caught at first sight, such a disgrace. Then I looked one more time deep into my eyes. What I found was amazing, such a surprise. Then I saw the whole thing, the body unclothed. I found compassion from a mind that was closed. To witness me naked in glorious splendor is a wonder divine, a vision to remember. When others see me, they may think me shoddy, but I have the key. What's wrong with my body? And he says, again, thank you very much for all that you do.
That was a very touching poem and well written. He obviously has a gift for rhyming and rhyming with intent and meaning. And we thank Paul Priestley very much. We just have a bevy of amazing listeners, Lisa, who write to us all of the time. We're in touch with people every day, 7 days, 7 nights a week. And we have a lot of talented listeners out there. And again, we thank Greg White for his letter, and we thank Paul Priestley for his. And Lisa Monroe, with that, we are going to have to head for the hills for a bit, get to my interview with James, an amazing young guy. And you'll be here at the end of the show, right?
I sure will.
All right, with that in mind, have a great close-free half hour or so. We'll see you in just a little bit.
Okie doke. Bye.
The very terrific Lisa Monroe as she goes dancing out of here off to the coffee machine. She'll be back at the end of the show. Does so much around here. We are thankful for her and thankful that she still shows up and puts up with me, puts up with us, and does a great job around here for the world of naturism and obviously for our show. We thank Lisa Monroe very much. Well, as a reminder, we are the official podcast for the American Association for Nude Recreation. Are you a member? If so, that is over the top, phenomenal, and great. But if not, you can become a member within moments. Just go to aanr.com, follow the navigation to membership, and within moments, you will become a member just like I am and just like Lisa Monroe is. How about that? Life just does not get any better. Well, you are listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 113 today. Glad that you're with us, enjoying clothes-free living for all of the right reasons for this hour. And don't forget our brand new Wednesday show that hits every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. The show on Saturday still hits at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. No changes to the Saturday show, merely an addition that we're giving you, and that's on Wednesdays. Well, again, Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 113. And now let's get to part one of my interview with James Grant, fairly new to the world of naturism and loving every second of it. Here we go, part one with James Grant. We are headed to South Carolina this morning to talk to a gentleman who has discovered naturism just in the last few years or so and is living the life to its fullest extent. He's heavily into health, eating correctly, exercising, and enjoying clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. He found our show, we found him, we've gotten together. So let's bring him in from South Carolina. James is with us. Good morning, James. How are you today, sir?
Hey, good morning, Frank. I'm good, feeling good. How about you?
Doing well. Thank you for asking. How is life in South Carolina? Nice and warm, especially in the summertime, but you get outside a lot? You get a chance to be clothes-free outside?
So life in South Carolina is pretty great. Definitely warm, which I don't mind. I'm a spring baby. I was born in April, so the heat doesn't bother me. I have a high tolerance for the sun, but yeah, and I get outside often. That's one of the perks of living in South Carolina, you know.
It never truly gets what a lot of people consider to be cold, right? It gets cool or chilly, but never ice. Or does it? Does it ice over or no?
So we had the last storm, winter storm that we had was maybe about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's very rare. And when we do, it's never anything crazy like New York or Boston. It's just some ice, a little snow, nothing too crazy, which works for me because I'm not a fan of the cold.
No, no, neither am I. And I guess if you're a naturist, you're really not a fan of the cold because that destroys the whole idea of getting outside, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Although I lived in a cold climate for a number of years, I still got outside, clothes free. Now I didn't stay out there for 8 hours. It might be
Yeah.
3 minutes, but at least I got outside and enjoyed it to the extent I could.
Yeah, that's cold therapy is like a popular thing going on right now. So it's actually good to get out there, for a few minutes, shock the body in a good way.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. I just enjoyed being clothes free outside. So I thought, okay, it's 20 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to go outside anyway, and maybe even play around in the snow when I was younger. But those days are over. I'm in a hot temperature now, so I don't have to worry about that. But I suppose if I were still up in the cold climate, I'd probably do it once in a while. It's just what we do because of who we are, right?
Right, yeah. A few minutes out there I could take. About 5, 10, 15, 20 max, man. Anything past 20, I'm like, okay, it's time to get back in some warmth.
You got it. Well, I want to read from your Twitter page. I still call it Twitter. For if you want to call it X,
Thank
that's
you.
fine. Just old school here. It's a pinned post of yours on your Twitter page,
Mhm.
and I want to read part of it now. We'll read the other part a little bit later. It starts off with, "I am not an exhibitionist. I don't get a thrill from being seen naked. I don't get naked for anyone else's pleasure or approval. I am not a pervert. I am not immoral. I am not at all what you're probably thinking. I am just like you. I am just comfortable in my own skin, and I choose to live as God intended for us all. We are all just like you, everyday people. We are your doctors, lawyers, teachers, dentists, mechanics, your neighbors, relatives, and loved ones, and everyone else in between. Some are just more secretive about it than others simply because of the world that we live in." So there's a whole bunch to unpack there. We could discuss that part of your pinned statement for a few moments and maybe the whole hour, but there is another part I want to get to. So let's start with in the middle of that, you said we are living as God intended for us all to live. What do you mean by that?
Living as God intended. We came into this world naked. Everybody knows that it's not a hidden thing. We came into the world naked. And then we didn't come into this world naked on accident. You know, that's how it's supposed to be. And God placed us in an environment that works for the naked body. For instance, you're outside, you get sunlight, it helps regulate a lot of things in your body. The trees gives off oxygen. When you're on the ground walking barefoot, it's no coincidence that it calms you. It feels so good to get mud in between your toes. As kids, we discovered these things, playing in mud, playing in dirt, outside swinging off trees. I know I certainly did. I guess that was my introduction to naturism without even knowing it. you know. As for a lot of people, they just don't realize it. So we were made for this environment. So living as God intended, that's what it means to me. And it's very, very important.
Yeah, so when you're clothes free, you're naked, the same way, exact way you were born. And as I pointed out on the show, some people use that as a joke, as a tee hee moment. Yeah. If God wanted us to be naked, we would have been born that way. And I always tell people that's not a joke. That's the truth. That's exactly why we were born that way, because He wants us to be born naked
Hmm.
and live clothes free. And that's how they lived for years and years and years, hundreds, if not thousands of years,
Hmm.
before somebody came along and said, okay, that's enough. We got to put some pants on. I see it as work of Satan. He hates God, he hates you, he hates Jesus. So we're going to do everything in the opposite way. But having said that, when we get outside, and you've already addressed some of it, the sun hits our skin, and there are big time health benefits for the sun on your bare skin. Correct?
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I talked to this woman some years ago, about 2 or 3 years ago. Interviewed her for another show that I was doing, nothing to do with naturism, but she's heavily into holistic living and every aspect of it. And I think I interviewed her 2 or 3 different times. And she talked about earthing,
Hmm.
which I had never heard of before. Now, that's on me for never having heard it. I'm a naturist because I love living clothes free and all the benefits that I feel. Although for years, those benefits were not necessarily in my brain. I just knew that it felt good.
Hmm.
I feel better when I'm outside, naked, clothes free, ready to go. and life just seems to be better for me when I am clothes free. So that's why I do it. But there are actual scientific reasons. And she mentioned two things to me that I'd never heard of before. Then when I delved into it, it's all over the place. I just flat out missed it. One is she tries to get outside barefoot every day, minimally barefoot, and walk on the grass or the dirt. She said the more time you spend on grass or dirt, the better off you are. She also tries to lie down clothes free on the grass or the dirt, whatever's available. She has neighbors, so she has to be careful too, because of the benefits just lying there, soaking in the sun and the breeze and the oxygen and everything else that life brings. You've experienced all of that already?
Absolutely, I need to meet this woman.
Yeah.
It's all of that, yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
It just it feels right. Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
right. Even going past the scientific evidence of everything that you just stated, which is great, it just feels natural. I'm one that tends to do what feels right. If it feels natural, if it feels good, you're not harming anyone or yourself, then do it, go for it. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot. A lot of what you just stated is a lot of my reasoning for, you know, living this way of life.
Yeah. And it certainly helps. I've found anyway, personally, it helps with stress. If I'm feeling a little
Mhm.
overworked, a little stressed,
Mhm.
outside I go, either at the pool or walk around back or head to the beach,
Mhm.
clothes free. There are places I can go. And then I feel a whole lot better. Just like, you kind of get that feeling of relief, right?
Mhm. There was even, I don't know if it was another podcast I was listening to or reading something, but they said that even looking at a picture of trees in a book puts you in that calming state. Like just looking at nature in the book before even experiencing it, you know, puts you in that state. So that just goes to show you how powerful nature can be and nature is.
Well, yeah, and you've referenced God already. He made all of nature, and he made you, and he made me. So it seems it goes with any.
And he made it all to work together.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Why would it not work together if he made everything? Now, if he made, us, but you and I made the trees, they might fit, they might not match, but he made it all, so I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
One of the questions we get asked around here a lot is we see nude pictures all over social media, and people will post. I use the term 5,000 or 10,000 selfies, totally nude every day. And I'm a naturist, and my instant reaction is, no, I don't think you are. Even though I don't mean you, but I mean the person posting. And even though I haven't met them, I haven't talked to them. But you said something that I just read a moment ago in your pinned statement that is exactly what I've been using, not knowing that you were using it too. Is if you get a thrill from being seen naked, if you like to, as a guy, whip your pants off and have a few women say, "Hey, baby,"
Mhm.
then that's not naturism. That is exhibitionism. And you said your very first opening sentence was, "I am not an exhibitionist." The second sentence was, "I don't get a thrill from being seen naked."
Mhm.
Even if you're totally alone and you're naked, you feel great. If you're totally naked with 10,000 people, you still feel great. You don't feel any differently. There's no special thrill with people staring at your naked body as opposed to being alone, right?
Yeah, I don't want to pass judgment on anyone, do what you do. But for me, that's not what's it about, which is why you won't see thousands of, nudes online from me. You know, I post a nude when I feel inspired to post one, or I feel like this could help someone out. But as far as just posting, hey, I'm fixing the car. If that's you, and there are some out there that do that, and they're cool. But it's just not me. Then there's some that just wants to be seen for the wrong reasons. So it's none of my business. But for me personally, I'm just not one just to throw something out just to be seen or to have, get gratification. I don't need it. So it's not me.
Right. And that is a difference, at least in my view, between exhibitionism and naturism. You just want to
Mhm.
enjoy the elements, the trees, the oxygen,
Mhm.
the sun. You're not looking to, whip your pants down and have somebody look at you. That's a big difference there. And I suppose we've all been there before. I was in high school and early college.
Mhm.
I'd sometimes walk from the house to my car with no shirt on in the summer.
Mhm.
And there were more than a few females in the neighborhood who would notice and they'd
Mhm.
make comments. And that felt pretty good. And I
Mhm.
realized
Yeah.
that that could become somewhat addictive. And then you are doing
Mhm.
it for the wrong reason. So You got to be careful
Mhm.
of that. At least that's what I tell people. It sounds like you agree with that, at least for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, and I gotta be honest, Frank, in the beginning, some of that did kinda mesh over,
Yeah.
but then I had to take a step back. I'm like, "Am I posting these pictures?" Because when you post pictures, especially if you work out, have a great body, you're gonna get comments everywhere, left and right, and it can be addictive, like you said, very addictive. So, if I post this picture and I got this much likes, this much comments, I wonder what they'll say if I post this picture
Yeah.
and post this picture. And I had to take a step back. I'm like, "James, hold up." I had to go through my feed. I'm like, "What's this? What's this? What's this? Delete that, delete that, delete that, delete that." So, I'm glad I had to, I'm glad I checked myself before, I got deep in it. But yeah, it's very addictive. Even outside of naked pics, just posting on social media period can be very addictive. But you have to so you don't get caught in the trap, you have to take a step back and check yourself and say, am I posting this to help someone? Or because I'm truly passionate about it and I feel like it can help someone, or am I posting this for gratification, approval, you know? So you gotta check yourself.
Well, you're right. Even if you post, you're having lunch at a restaurant and you post a picture of your sandwich to the world on, on social media, and you get 10 likes right away, you get that little jump in enthusiasm like, hey, I
Mhm.
just got 10 likes, which are totally meaningless for the most part.
Mhm.
But you get a little jacked up just over a sandwich, let alone your naked body. So there is a line and it's easy to cross.
And it becomes unauthentic
It is exactly right.
and it shows.
Yeah. When we first went through your Twitter feed, you're one of those who do not post a lot of photos, as you mentioned. And the ones you do post are always tastefully done. In fact, I even said on the show, because you submitted an audio clip for our 100th show and we played it. And then I said, James is one of those guys who just looks like he should be a naturist, or however I said it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just like a very pure person. It's not look at me. It's there's even one back on June 9th where you're lifting weights and you're talking
Oh,
about the
yeah.
benefits of weightlifting and you have clothes on. Now, if
Mhm.
you're an exhibitionist, and by the way, we're seeing you from the backside with clothes on. An
Mhm.
exhibitionist would have had clothes off and would have been facing the camera. And so we
Mhm.
notice little things like that. And that's what began to get our interest. Like this guy is really seriously into naturism,
Yeah.
not about himself, just enjoying clothes for a living for all the right reasons. Now, how did you find this? Because when we before we started recording, you said you've only been with this maybe 2 or 3 years at least, consciously. Is that right?
Holistic health is what led me to this. Yeah, I didn't grow up a naturist or a nudist. I don't know if my family would have been opposed to it either, because it just was never the topic. Like my mom would walk around in her bra and underwear when it was hot, because in South Carolina it gets crazy
Yeah,
hot.
yeah,
And she would walk around like that. And of course, we'd be like, "Ugh, put clothes on, mom." And she'd be like, "This is my house. I pay the bills," in a loving way, she said.
yeah, yeah.
But we see that, but it was just never a topic. So I discovered it through holistic health. Online following some influencers. And they would just talk about the benefits of getting full spectrum sunlight on the body. And
Mm,
there's a couple influencers that male influencers that talked about something called testicle sunning on your penis and on your testicles, and they're talking about how it can boost testosterone, the same effects that you get in any other part of your body. Why not, get sunshine where it doesn't, well, where the sun usually doesn't shine. And
yeah,
I
that's
thought,
right.
why not just take it one step further and just get sunshine all over?
Yeah,
And I started researching, no tan lines, sunshine over the entire body. And I just started seeing different posts. And eventually I saw the word naturism come up. And I'm like, I've heard of nudism before,
yeah.
but never naturism. And I was
Okay.
like, what's this about? And I discovered I was pretty much already doing a lot of it. I was already grounding, earthing, walking barefoot. I wasn't getting outside completely naked in nature yet, but I was like pretty much half naked, little shorts on, no shirt. Yes, I was pretty much already practicing it without being totally nude. So one day I was just out on the hiking trail, in the area where no one. It was a hiking trail that I frequent a lot, so I know where the secluded spots are.
Mhm.
And I just thought, let me just try this out, just take everything off and see how it feels.
Yeah.
And I did, and it sort of validated what I already knew.
Yeah.
Like it just felt right. I'm like, this feels good. I feel more connected to nature. It just feels good. Like the sun is shining everywhere. It just felt right. And I just went deeper and deeper, and then I discovered there was a community for this. I'm like, oh, so there's other people that like to do this too. And
Yeah.
yeah, I joined Twitter. And it just took off from there. I started meeting more natures from around the world.
Yeah.
I met, I got introduced to podcasts, and I discovered you guys a few months after. And yeah, it's just taken off since then. So
Yeah.
holistic health is what brought me on this path,
Yeah.
and I'm here now. No turning back.
Yeah, no, once you're here, you really don't turn back because it's just so great. Why would you ever turn back? There'd be no point in that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Now you mentioned being outside clothes free and letting the sun hit everything feels great. Conversely, what does it feel like to you if you're outside with a bathing suit on or a pair of shorts? Are you consciously aware that this is not as good or what?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like whenever I went to Jamaica for my birthday back in April,
Okay.
and I had a great time. I loved the people, I loved the land, the culture, everything. But it wasn't a nudist. It was, it wasn't a clothing optional resort that we stayed at. And I was on the
Okay.
beach and I was tanning, but I was like, it just doesn't feel right. Like I just feel like it cheapened the experience of being it cheapens the experience, that's what it is,
Mm.
of being out in nature when you have clothes on. To me now, it's like I'm still getting some benefits. I'm still grateful that I'm able to get out here, but it's nothing like being completely naked when everything aligns, the weather, everything is perfect. It's nothing like being outside completely naked and just enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, there really is no comparison. Every once in a while, I'll have to put a bathing suit on. Either, I head to the public beach where everybody has a suit on. So, shoot, okay, I guess I have to do that.
Right.
Or even in my own pool, if there's a celebration next door to me where they might have several people at their pool who could see me if they really tried, and they'd have to go out of their way. But to avoid that and just having those conversations that could get unpleasant, I'll throw a suit on, but I also won't stay in the water very long. I'll say, that's it. 5 minutes and I'm done.
Right.
I'll jump back in clothes free when everybody leaves. So there is a huge difference. And another post you made, I want to get back to that pinned post in just a little bit, though. You talked about, this is back on May 28th, sunshine is the key to overall wellness. A lot of our health issues can be resolved simply by getting more sunshine. Now, I don't know if you're in the medical profession or not, but I have heard that from physicians and other healthcare workers. You have to get outside in the sun.
Mhm.
It's why they, at senior citizen homes or where they're convalescing, even if they're in a wheelchair, they wheel them outside. Just get sun on your skin, just enjoy it. So, first of all, are you in the medical profession at all at any level? And whether you are or not, and I guess especially if you're not, how did you discover that sunshine is the key to overall wellness?
I am not in the medical profession. I discovered that through a lot of research.
Okay.
A lot of YouTube videos, reading a lot of books. I have a book now actually called the Vitamin D Solution. I have yet to start reading it because I've got a list of books that I'm
Yeah.
trying to tackle, but it's definitely on the list. But yeah, just YouTube influences, doing my own research, and also just myself, like just being my own study, like knowing how I feel when I go outside. How it changes your mood. It's no coincidence that most people, not everybody, but most people typically when they're on vacation, they want to go to a tropical island, the beaches and everything like that. It's no coincidence that that's what a lot of people crave. It's yeah, it does wonders for the skin. It can change your mood. It can your hormones get boosted. It's just a great thing.
Some people more than others. I can go a number of days with no sun I don't recommend that, and I haven't done that for a lot of years, especially living in Florida. It's easy to get outside and enjoy it. But I can go several days without sun and be okay. Other people can't even go one day and be okay. I don't know what that's called as far as not being in the sun. There's some kind of an affliction associated with that. And if you're not careful, you can start your health, your physical health will go downhill, your mental
Hmm.
health will go downhill. You'll start feeling depressed. So
Yeah,
that's a big key for getting out, right?
yeah, yeah. Vitamin D is an important thing that we all need.
Yeah, and it's there for us if we get out clothes free and enjoy it.
Exactly.
You mentioned you were not from a nudist or naturist home growing up, but did you ever run around clothes free, like just play in the backyard or run through the house naked and have fun, like a lot of kids do?
I'm sure when I was young, like very, very young, I did. But growing up, I can't say that I did. It was a lot of outdoors. I mean, I grew up in South Carolina, it's the country. It was a lot of swinging on trees, making our own clubhouses, you know, just wilding out outside in the grass. It was a lot of that. But I can't recall like ever just being running around like completely naked.
All right, so this really is something you discovered as you moved into
Hmm.
adulthood, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Going back to your pinned post, the part I read before, we, meaning naturists, are all like you, everyday people. Well, your doctors and lawyers, teachers, and I read all those before. And that is true. I have found, strictly through doing this show, that you can pick a profession, any profession, and I guarantee you there are a number of naturists in that profession.
Hmm.
They just don't tell you. And I wish we could get past that stigma. I don't know if we ever will. We're trying. That's part of our mission with this show is to, as people like to say, normalize nudity. And I say, oh, we're not normalizing it. It's already normal. We're just trying to tell people that it's normal and get them over the hump of believing that it's not normal.
Hmm.
Have you found that too? All these people, doctors, lawyers, teachers, dentists, mechanics, so on and so forth, they're naturists. They just don't tell a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, and that's not something that I discovered until joining naturism. Because I'm gonna be honest, and I don't want to offend anyone. Where I'm from, when you hear nudists, you think of older white people that go to Florida to retire and just live free and just be naked and do whatever.
Yeah.
That was
All right.
my impression of nudism. That
Yeah.
was way before discovering naturism. But when you hear
Yeah.
nudists, that's what you thought.
Mhm.
I didn't know that it was so diverse. There's black people, there's young people, there's gay people, there's trans people, older people, there's the older white, you know.
Mhm.
It's so diverse, and that's something that I didn't know. You know, and there are doctors, I've met lawyers, I've met people that work in fashion. I've pretty much met people from every facet of life through naturism.
Yeah.
And that just it blew my mind. I'm like, oh wow. So this isn't what I thought it was.
Yeah. Well, I had this doctor for a number of years and got to know him fairly well personally, not socially. We didn't hang out or anything together, but got to know him pretty well. And we talk about everything under the sun, no pun intended. And then one day I said, so what are your plans, for for the summer or whatever? I asked him. And he said he was going somewhere. I forgot exactly where or which country now, but I knew that they had a number of nude beaches over there. And so I said, whoa, you're going where all the nude beaches are, eh? Just kind of trying to be funny. And he said, well, yeah.
Mhm.
Like, seriously, like not laughing back. I was kind of laughing and he was not. And I said, oh, really? He goes, I go there every year for the sole purpose that there are nude beaches in that country. And I said, so what, you're a nudist naturist? He goes, hello. He goes, yeah. He goes, I don't tell everybody
What?
that. And I'm only telling you because I know you better than most of my patients. And he said, don't tell anybody, by the way. But yeah, every profession has them, and I found them in my career. Like I've told the story on the show before. People way up the ranks from me when I was very young. They were naturists, and I discovered it by accident. And when I discovered it, I asked the guy, "So I didn't realize you were a nudist or naturist." I use those terms interchangeably.
Yeah.
Not everybody does, I know. But I said, "I didn't know you were a nudist." He said, "Are you kidding?" He goes, "Almost everybody at my level, which was upper management," he said, "we're all nudists. We all hang out together." Whether it's, and he named a bunch of places. He goes, "When you become one of us, when you get to this level, you'll be able to come to these events." And so it was just a well known secret, if there can be such a thing, that naturism, nudism is great. And the higher up you go in that particular company where the stress was really big time, that's how they found their release. They'd get together and just either have iced tea or a beer or whatever, naked at somebody's pool or hot tub after work one night, just to de-stress and enjoy whatever sun was left on that particular day. So it does work no matter who you are, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, friend, I think more people or naturists. I think there are more people that are naturists that just don't realize that what they're doing is nature. Because, like I said,
Yeah,
there's a whole community out there of influencers, biohackers, practice a lot of this lifestyle. They just don't call it naturism. They just, they just do what they do. So there's a bigger community than what's out there.
that's very true. We had, I think it was back in June, we had the president of the New Zealand Naturist Federation on. Alice is her name. And she didn't know naturism was a thing. She and her husband spent all of their time clothes free at home, and they enjoyed going to the nude beach and whatever else. And one day she was talking to somebody, I forgot who it was, but he said, "Oh, you guys are nudists." She goes, "What?" He said, "You're nudist." She goes, "No, I don't think so." He goes, "Well, it sounds to me like you are." And he described what a nudist naturist does. And she said, "Well, then I guess we are."
Mhm.
But there was a perfect example of what you just said. A couple, a husband and wife, living clothes free all the time, visiting nude beaches, but had never heard the term naturism or nudism, so they didn't even know that they were a naturist or nudist. Have you seen that quite
Mhm.
a bit then, you're saying?
I have, yeah, I've seen that a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what do you do in your world with naturism? Do you have a group of friends you hang with? Are you trying to bring people aboard? Are you open with everybody? It sounds like you are because you're big on social media.
Yeah, so I'm becoming more open about it.
The very terrific James Grant, fairly new to the world of naturism, heavily into nutrition and health and working out, and definitely a guy to keep our eyes on as a brand new entry into the world of naturism. In our next Saturday show, which will be episode 115, part 2 of my interview with the very terrific James Grant. And before we leave you and depart until Wednesday comes along, let's bring back our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Welcome back, Lisa.
I'm glad to be back. It was a short half hour and a great interview. What a lively guy.
James is absolutely terrific. A young guy, discovered naturism, now can't get enough of it. He's into the whole aspect of it, not just being clothes free, but health and exercise and taking care of himself so he can live to be 250. Just an impressive guy. And obviously, part 2 of his interview will be on next week's show. And out of curiosity, during your 30 minutes or so out of the studio, how many cups of coffee did you consume?
Maybe 2. Actually, the cup is like 15, 16 ounces, so it's one of our mugs. So probably about 2 cups,
Oh,
roughly.
so you filled one of the 15 ouncer and you consumed the whole thing?
Yes, yes. It was
Okay.
not real super hot. It
Yeah.
was, so it was easy to drink down quickly. So apparently our discussions didn't wake me up, as Paul said they did him. The coffee did, however.
Yeah. Well, Paul has both things going for him. Depending on his mood or the tone or whatever he's doing, we can nurture him back to sleep or we can pump him wide awake while he's driving. So,
I tell you, we're good. We're
yeah,
really good.
I'm telling you, we need to start 2 new shows, Sleeping with Frank and Lisa, which obviously could be taken wrong. We don't want
This
that
is
out there,
true.
but maybe going to sleep while Frank and
Drifting
Lisa.
off to sleep while listening. Now, maybe I don't know. That's too long.
That'd be a
Anyway.
long title, yeah. Or Get Pumped Up with Frank and Lisa. So,
Yay!
however you want to use it, the same exact show, same exact segment can do different things for different people. We accept it. Nothing wrong with that, right?
Exactly. Nothing wrong at all.
All right, Lisa, let's head for the hills. We'll do this again this coming Wednesday and obviously next Saturday. And until then, go out there and have a great clothes-free week. We'll talk again next time.
Okay, see you guys later.
All right. Well, you've been listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 109 today. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, and on most Wednesdays, 12 noon Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon/Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked and join us again for Naked Nudists and Naturist.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked Nudists and Naturists. Have a great clothes-free day.